What's up, otakus? It's been some time since I hopped on, and I've been drinking, but this is going out no matter what. This is going out no matter what. I've been drinking, and I'm excited. I'll tell you what I'm excited. Why I'm excited. Um, I am set to leave for Japan tomorrow. I've officially. This is like my PTO. I'm coming back to work on the 11th. So for the next week, I'm going to be traveling. Tomorrow, I leave for Tokyo, Japan, SeaTac to Tokyo, SeaTac to Haneda. And there is a typhoon. There's a typhoon sort of advisory right now floating around Tokyo. So there's a good possibility that my flight will be canceled. But right now, as of now, flight is good to go. No like cancellation, no, delayed departure, anything like that. But it is a evolving situation. So I won't be able to update you on any of that stuff. I'll just basically be stuck at the airport if it gets delayed. And again, I have a week's worth of time off where I told you it's going to be very busy because I have family in Japan, I have family in Korea, I have friends that I have to see. So I land in Tokyo literally just like the next day, meet up with my friends, drink, catch the next flight the next day to Korea. Uh and my parents are there, so I have to spend as much time with them, with my son and my parents, as much of time we can secure for that. And then I have to meet up with my friends in Korea. And apologies to my friends in Korea, if I'm trying to make time for everybody, but I just don't have the bandwidth to meet up with everyone. But fortunately, I will be able to I'm gonna call the people that again, I won't be able to meet with everyone, but the people that I won't be able to meet with that I wanted to meet up with, I'm going to ensure that I call and let them know because, I'll be posting and things on my social media and they'll know I'm in Korea. So I hope that at least the phone call and the connection there will allay any kind of, you know, ill feelings toward me not scheduling time with everyone. But with that being said, there's a lot there in that week that we have to do. And again, a portion of that is to look for comic books. I'm trying to pick up books for my boy Fanboy Prime, and so I'll try to send an update. We are intending to hit the comic book shop in Ikebukuro. It's an American comic book shop out of all the, manga and whatever stuff there is. I am planning to hit Akihabara. I do want to try to go to um I do want to try to go to Nakano Broadway, which is just a great place for like toys and knickknacks and all the nerd stuff there, like games. You name it, it's got it. It's sort of um, a lesser known Akihabara in that sense. But again, I have a very tight window. I'm going to try to do that all during the day. In the evening, I have plans with my friends. And so we'll see where that lands. But I am confident that I will hit up the comic book shop. I will hit up Akihabara and then head to my thing. I don't know if I'll be able to go to Nakano Broadway though. That's we'll just have to see. And I'm sure I don't know what my energy level is going to be. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking. Tomorrow I'm, you know, I'm not taking an Uber or anything like that. I'm going the old school way through public transportation to get to where I need to go. And so it's going to be a whirlwind of just train stations, hotel check-ins, airport lobbies, all this stuff. I would say about like a quarter of my time during this trip is not going to be relaxing and doing something somewhere. It's going to be like literally lugging my shit around to get to the next port, to the next destination and whatnot. So I hope that gives you a picture of like this trip. It's in no ways is it going to be a relaxing kind of trip. It's going to be very full of transit and travel and all that. All right. With that being said, today's stream is to focus on, I did a lot of, it's an interesting time for DC collectors. All right. DC collectors, connect with me a little bit, make eye contact with me. I have trouble making eye contact, but I'm making eye contact with you right now. Look at me, DC collectors. It's our time. All right. Whether you're a Superman, Batman, Flash, I don't give a F. It's our time. All right. DC collectors. And Marvel, yeah, Disney's a big company. They'll push a lot of money into pushing shit. But at the end of the day, it's all about what people want, what people are buying, where people's attention spans are. And right now, I got to say, the Superman movie has shifted and I'm talking about the comic book community, I'm talking about the comic book hobby. Irregardless, if you love Marvel, if you love X-Men, if you love all the Marvel crap, Spider-Man, whatnot, you're going to continue to love that. I don't think Superman movie is going to move that needle so far. But I'm talking about people who watch the movie, people who are now getting into the hobby because of the movie, people who are now getting into DC content, reading comic books, all these newbies. There's a lot of newbies out there. And including those people who are like speculating and investing and doing all that and seeing where the market is moving. You see a lot of that. Right now, what I'm seeing on eBay in terms of eBay sales is a flurry of Superman comic book sales. And I've done a couple Instagram posts that outline that. But I mean, you go in every day since the movie has launched, it's been a steady stream of like Superman book sales across the board. There's no one book that's trending. It's just modern, Copper Age, Bronze. So you name it. It's just the full gamut of sales for Superman books. And that's great to see. That is great to see. But it's sort of the wild, wild west. It's just people like, I don't know if they're speculators. I don't know if they're people getting in the hobby, but just people going out and buying what they want. And I'm fine with that. Go buy what you want. And the demand, the sales, the number of sales on eBay, and we're talking about one channel of sales. I'm not even talking about people going to that local LCS or people doing the Facebook marketplace and picking up whatever there's multiple channels, but I'm just focusing on one, and my observation is on one, focused on one, the eBay sales. And it's been, again, a flurry of activity that we've never seen for Superman books. And it's really just kind of no holds barred, wild, wild west, everything goes right now. And for me, as a Superman collector, I feel like I have some nuggets of wisdom in terms of what to invest in or what to target. And again, if you want to just pick up what you want, albeit, just do it. But as someone who's been collecting for X amount of years and somebody who just got back into the hobby and picked up books that, for me as a Superman DC fan, I think have legs or things that I would just like pick up and not want to sell or not want to move because it has a sentimental or, in my view, an investment worthy, uh, you know, link to the book. Um, these are my picks or my recommendations for what to target, what to pick up. So this is part two because I already did it, and this is the thing. Like until we get um, real concrete news on where DC Productions are going or what characters are being released or what, you know, again, characters are being featured in upcoming releases and whatnot. It really is just speculation and really is just like people picking up on what they think will have legs or what they think will move. So this list is a little bit speculatory in that respect, but I'm just going to speak to my track record in terms of my predictions for the movie, in terms of my predictions of where we're at, and in terms of my track record of picking up books that right now are trending, that right now are selling. I feel like I have a little bit of legitimacy in terms of recommending books to you guys. So take that with a grain of salt. Obviously this is just a fun video. You don't have to, I'm sure a lot of you just either are going to be like, okay, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, or yeah, you're drunk, sleep it off and all whatnot. But I will say the books I'm about to show off have a legitimate track for not necessarily that they're going to spike and you're going to see like 100% return on investment. But what I will say is over a decade's worth of time, these are the books that I think will stand out and kind of elevate themselves over all the options you have in terms of DC content, DC books, right? So these are the things that are going to kind of stand out for collectors, the things that I think collectors are going to target, and the ones that will rise above the rest in terms of desirability, collectability, and demand. Okay? All right. I'm glad I got all that out. I mean, that was like a drunken kind of tirade or whatnot, but I got it out and we're going to get to the books now. So let's do it. This is Otaku Thursday edition, right before I traveled to Japan. Special, whatchamacallit, but hopefully you get some value out of this. If you do get value out of it, come on, give me a like, give me a subscribe, make a comment. I've been doing this since 2021 and maybe 2020, 2021, around there. And I picked up a lot of books. I've done a lot of videos, and I'm ready to go to that next level. I'm at 670 subscribers right now. Get that algorithm going. I've never really pandered for views and likes and all that crap because that wasn't my goal. But you know what? When I come back from Japan, I just want to see some movement on this channel because I'm excited for the next 10 years of DC content, Superman content, and whatnot. And I'm here. I've been here from day one to kind of like set it up. I've teed it up, and now it's a thing of its own. So we're gonna continue it. I feel like we're on another level, and we're gonna just grow and do whatever. Now, to the Disney cabal, to the Marvel fanboys, to the Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill prostitutes. Just know that this is nothing against you guys. but your days are done. Come on, you had a good decade or whatever, or like a couple years thriving, and at our expense, right? You had those years of success, and having your book sell and being on the top whatever lists and all that. But it's a new day, um, and the biggest evidence of that it's a new day is, again, go to today's eBay sales for July 31st and just do Superman comic as the search and see what I mean. Compare that to yesterday's sales. It's going up, not going down. Okay, so it's a thing that's going up, and right now it's chaos. There's no focus or rhyme or reason to what I mean outside of the you know speculation books tied to the movies. But we've got a decade's worth of time, and really this sort of my recommendation or my list or my target books are really about the long term, really about what I think has legs, and what I think whether you're a speculation buyer or you're just getting into the hobby. And really, I'm talking about the newbies. If you're a newbie and you just want to get in the hobby, these are the books I would target. Old school guys, old school people, you already know. I'm not going to preach to you guys. You guys know the market as well as I do, and you know what will have uh, long-term durability. So I'm not gonna. It's not really targeted at you. I'm talking about this little 10-year span that we have with the DCU, and for those people that are coming in who just are just wanting to buy something but don't know what to buy, that's for you, my friends. Miss So, long time no see. Great to see you, madam, and thank you for joining. Hope you're having. I know you're doing something in the background listening, so we're just gonna get into the books. All right, we're gonna get into the books, and gonna keep you company. All right. Deathstroke. Has Deathstroke been announced for any kind of appearance or casting or feature? No. Deathstroke is still a variable whether we will see him or not. But he was in the Snyderverse. And there's a reason they put him in the Snyderverse, because he's a popular character, somebody who's been in the comics that fans are wanting to see. And I think, in terms of legs and whether we will see him or not sooner or later, it's a sooner and it's a late. It's definitely there. So, Deathstroke first appearance, it's already trending. Teen Titans issue 2, or no, is it issue? Anyway, it's one of the early issues in that run. Um, go target that. That's a big book already. That's like a $50 to $100 book. Now, if you want to spend on that book, that's an investment book. And if you're going to get that book, try to get in as high as grade as you can. But I think any grade on that book is fine. The only caveat is, again, it's a Copper Age book, late Bronze, a Copper Age book. You're going to pay about $100 for it. If you're going to pay $100, make sure you're at least getting the higher grades. Don't make the mistake of getting like a, you know, I want to say a fine or very fine copy at the high grade prices. So, you know, that's a book you want to target. Outside of that book, this is investment. This is an investment. And the reason I say it's an investment is because right now, this book, you can probably find the dollar bin. At most, it's maybe a $5 book, right? In terms of its book value, it's a $10 to $15 book. but you shouldn't be paying $10 to $15 unless it's a graded copy, unless it's something that you know is high grade. Because this is a modern book, you're gonna 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get a very high grade copy, which is what we have. We have two very high grade copies of Superman Batman Annual #1. It's a #1 issue. It's an annual from this very popular run, but more importantly, it's the first appearance of Deadpool in DC Comics. This is never explicitly stated as Deadpool, but Rob Liefeld has famously expressed that Deadpool was an inspiration from the Deathstroke character. And Joe Kelly brilliantly brings, again, something that's teased as Deadpool beating Deathstroke, and Deadpool just is the butt of the joke in this very fun issue. But because it is the first Deathstroke and Deadpool appearance together, this should be on your radar, especially if you're just like you love Deadpool. Who doesn't? It was the #1 comic book movie last year. Uh, People just love Ryan Reynolds' take on it. It will be a forever relevant character. It's probably the top character outside of the entire X-Men that in terms of popularity. So again, this is a very key book, and this has been undervalued for so long given its significance. You're talking about a DC Marvel crossover in a very sort of unofficial way. It's Joe Kelly's way of saying, "Hey, look, I'm bringing Deadpool in. He's going to be the butt of our jokes." He worked on Deadpool prior to this run, creating that the sensibility of the breaking the fourth wall, that sort of joking Deadpool character. Well, he brings it full circle by uh, having the two really inspirational characters meet: Deathstroke versus Deadpool. It's Superman, Batman, it's Deadpool, Deathstroke. What more do I effing need to say for you to go out and get this book and target it right now? Do I need to say more? Fanboy, do I need to say more? Right? Just go out and get this book for $1. If you get this book for $1, that's a win for you. Because in 10 years from now, I promise you this will not be a dollar book. And as I say this, it's probably not a dollar book. All right. All right. We're having fun tonight. I'm going to keep it fun and positive. I'm not going to try to yell at people and do that. But here we go. Next book. Now, this is the free comic book day version. This is not the version I would advise you pick up. In fact, I got to get the legit version. But this is what I would be targeting like nobody's business if I'm a speculative comic book collector. And of course I am, and I've already picked up this free comic book day version. But I want the actual version. I want the priced version of Justice League Adventures #1. You got this beautiful, cover here. It's a coup cover. I think this is a Paul Dini cover, if I'm not wrong. But if I am, then whatever. Beautiful Justice League Adventures cover there. You don't want the free comic book day version. You want the actual #1 priced copy. If you get a newsstand, it's even better. But this is a book you need to target because this is coming. All right, this is coming. This team, I think, is ultimately, the Justice Gang is sort of this like ragtag. You got all these people, but once the Trinity enter the picture and they cut out the fat, this is the team you're looking at. And we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 6 members confirmed, or 7 members confirmed. So get on it. Get on it. Just go out and Buy it on off eBay if you need right now. Don't get the free comic book day version like I did for 50 cents. Get the actual 9/8 version of this, in terms of the #1 issue. That isn't the free comic book day. It's the priced issue. But get it. Get it for, I don't even want to put a price on it. Just get it if you can. It's gonna be there at some point in terms of making you back your money. Um, I would say a comfortable, in high grade, a comfortable target to hit this book at is like 10 to 15 in high grade. Okay. Obviously, if you're going to get it graded, we're looking at 50 to 60 bucks for a graded copy in this moment. But again, as an investment grade book, that's money well spent, I think, especially if you're getting in like 9 for above. Okay. All right. Now, I do want to counter to um, a recent video I saw. It was, I love Russ from Milgeek Comics. Russ is about the most knowledgeable comic book guy, the hardest local comic book shop owner in my area. And shout out to you, Russ, if you're watching this. I love the fact that you let me just dig in your shop all day and just buy like $4 or $5 worth of comics and never make a comment about that. But Russ, I do want to say to you that I disagree with your take on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Okay, albeit there are a lot of I do agree with your take on that there are a lot of copies of the book, and that you shouldn't be overpaying for Crisis on Infinite Earths #7, which is the famous Superman grieving over Kara's death. Okay, I agree with your recent assessment that is probably a $20 book. You shouldn't pay more than $20 $20 for that book, and that is a copy where there's so many printed that it's one of those things that you don't want to necessarily pay more for. With that being said, yes, it's a $10 to $20 book. Spend $10 to $20 books. If you can get for less, perfect. That will never be, I don't think it'll ever be a $50 book. It'll always be a perpetually relevant $20 book. But in terms of its significance in the DC continuity, okay, that single run of Infinite Crisis on Infinite, there's a reason they printed so many copies. There's a reason it sold so many copies. There's a reason that people have that in their collection and whatnot. Okay. And that reason is because it's a George Perez classic Marvel and Perez comic book that is the pinnacle. I want to say it's the payoff in that run. That cover, that story, that death is the payoff in that run. So to minimize, I don't care if there's a gajillion copies out there. People want that copy. So as a collector, get it. Get it for 10, get it for 20, whatever you need, get it. And to say that book is going to perpetually be $20, $30 book, even with all the copies out there, hey, you know how many copies of New Mutants 98? You know how many copies of what's another book that's just ridiculously printed that people are paying over $100 for? There's a gajillion of those. With regards to Copper Age, DC Classic moments, that series, that single issue is the biggest. So ignore the print run in that instance. Get the book for $20, and if you can get it in whatever niche, newsstand, Canadian edition, whatever you need to do to maybe, but get it in, if you can get it in high grade, grade it. I promise you that book in high grade will always be an investment book. Okay. So that's where I disagree with Russ in terms of his determination of where that book is and whether you should overpay or underpay. Um, you got an assignment now. Target that book in high grade, maybe grade it, but that will always be a perpetually relevant book. It will never be below a $20 value. And in terms of its future, where it lands, depends on the demand. So that is the most in demand book I can think of. It trended the first thing the Superman movie came out. It will always trend. It was trending before the Superman movie book came out, and that, irregardless of, there's more copies of Spawn One. There's more copies of uh, Miles Morales. I'm telling you, there's more copies of uh, X set amount of books than that particular run. So to say that because there are a lot of copies of that, that isn't worth picking up or not worth picking up at a certain value, that is ridiculous. What's up, Tyler? What's up, Garfwong? All right, we got some people in here. Listen to me rant. But having said that, I don't want you to target the George Perez #7 cover because you will already have it in your collection, I'm sure. The one you should target, the one that has legs, is this $1 comic, which is a reprint of #1. It's this Alex Ross goodness. This is a dollar comic. There's probably more copies of this than that 7, but in terms of finding this in the dollar bin or 50-cent bin or whatever, this is not going to be a dollar bin book at the end of the day. This cover, this incredible mirror Earth 1, Earth 2 splitting Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and all the freaking characters in the back. I mean, I don't even have to sell it. I don't even have to sell it. Look at it. Tell me you don't want it. And you think this is like, how often do you run into this? Think about all the times you've gone dugging in the dollar bins or you've gone dugging in. How often do you run into this? This tells you, like, when collectors pick this up for $1, they're not selling it. They're keeping it in their collections, like me, like you, like whoever is watching this freaking video with this book. If you don't have it and you want to go to eBay right now and pick it up for $3-4, I wouldn't fault you for that. Okay, I wouldn't fault you for that, but pick it up. If you get it for $1, kudos to you, man. You got a really good deal on it. Just don't wait around for this, because we're in that period where these kind of books, this is what's like, if I see it on eBay for like $3-5, I'm picking it up, especially if I don't have it. So there you go, along with Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue #7, issue #8. You want to target this dollar freaking free, what is it, dollar comic reprint for close to as dollar as you can until you can't. All right, we're ranting and raving here. This is a book that is gun speculation and nothing more. Gun's already teased. We're going to get Booster Gold. We're going to get the 90s Giffen de Mateus run version of Maxwell Lord and his whole positioning of Justice League, how he brings different elements of the team together. It's hilarious. This is a run you should be collecting. It runs from Justice League to Justice League America to Justice League and National Justice League Europe. It's a very broad run. I don't think at the end of the day, I don't think any one or particular book is gonna necessarily be investment grade book, but you're gonna have key keys in this issue that collectors are going to target. So you're going to see maybe $1 book turn into a $20 book. And that's kind of where, again, $1 book to $20 book, that's a pretty good percentage yield in terms of investment value. So if you can get whatever that percentage growth is in a 2 to 5 year period, um, it's worth doing. Yeah, maybe you won't sell it. Maybe you will sell. Who cares? But the if you can get the issue where just Booster Gold joins the Justice League, which is what this is. And in fact, 3 years ago, this wasn't even a key book. It was around the time when there was all this speculation around Gunn's universe, where he had mentioned, "Hey, I like the Giffen de Matteis run." This became a key book because it was the time Booster Gold joined the team. So, again, this book hasn't had a lot of legs, but where we are currently with what Gunn is doing, Gunn has gotten a blank check to now basically build whatever he wants to do. And he's already announced this is coming. So if you don't have this book, if you're not targeting this book, if you're not even looking at this book, you are being blind to the stuff that's there for you to. This is all information that should be guiding you on how to collect or what to target. So I don't know what more I have to say. It's a dollar bin book still. If you can get it for $1, get it. If you pay a little bit more, $5, get it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this will be a $20 book. Okay. At the end of the 5 to 10 years, we're talking about when this thing has legs and you see Booster Gold on screen with the Justice Gang and all that, you're going to be like, dang, I should have listened to Otaku. I should have picked up this book. And he said to pick it up for $1 rather than $20. All right. I am Neil Adams day in, day night. I have been focused on Neil Adams books pretty much for the past 3 to 4 years. And fortunately, I picked up a lot of his books. One regret is I picked up a lot of his books on the lower grade scale than the higher grade scale. And I really, again, it really comes down to budget and making those kinds of micro decisions. But in hindsight, it's like, man, if I just focused on the grade a little bit, maybe paid a little bit more, but gotten the higher grade books, it definitely would have been a better payoff from an investment standpoint. But I'm not regretting it because, again, I have this book in a solid fine plus grade here. And there's 2 books that was released at the same time in November of, I forget what year this is. I want to say it's 1967. There are 2 books. His first work on Action Comics and his first work on so they're both first works on Superman. We just have, again, 2 simultaneous releases, one on Action Comics, one on Lois Lane. And it's debatable which you could say is his first. But irregardless, those are 2 copies you want because of, again, I've been saying Neil Adams' legacy character is Superman. Yeah, we can argue Batman, Superman, blah, 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 but you can't convince me that it's Batman over Superman. If anything, maybe they're equatorial. But in my view, it's Superman hands down. Just from the sheer volume, just from the expressed love that Neil Adams said he has for the character, just for the, again, the number of titles versus the number of Batman titles. Batman really only has World's Finest, Batman, and Detective Comics that Neil's worked on. If you look at Superman, Superboy, Superman, Action Comics, Lois Lane, Superman Family, Jimmy Olsen, Superman. I mean, it runs the gamut of Superman titles. He's worked on them all. That doesn't convince you, then then don't watch my videos, okay? So, all right, there you go, Gordon. Whatever niche you can find that Infinite Crisis to maybe separate the mass, you know, copies out there versus the niche. And again, I think this is where, again, the 9/8s are really going to make a difference in that Crisis on Infinite Earths run. The 9/8s are going to carry a lot more value than even the 9/6s and 9/4s. I think I would even say the 9/6s and 9/4s are around the same value. But when you talk about rarity and you talk about investment grade, the 9/8s in that series are going to be, and that black cover on on number 7 doesn't make Crisis on Infinite Earths number 7 an easy copy to get in 9/8s. I'm sure there are a lot of 9/8s, but it's still significant in the sense that 9/8s are going to carry that premium, and there's so much demand. If you have a 9/8 copy, it's going to command the way higher value over a 9/6 or 9/4. Okay, glad you brought that up. All right, but that's not the book we're talking about right now. We're talking about Neil Adams' first work on Superman. And again, there's two. There's Action Comics, and then there's Lois Lane. And in terms of artwork, I want to say this Lois Lane is a better piece of. Let me get my other. I don't want to get it. All right, it's back there, but they're both great Superman works. But if you were to talk about just overall quality of artwork, this one takes the cake. And I believe this is the actual first work on Superman. And it's this beautiful wedding cover. It's this playful, like, ha ha ha, you made that, you chose this dude over me, live with the consequences. Again, Silver Age goodness, 1967 Neil Adams debuting on Superman goodness. This is one, it's still freaking relatively cheap. You can get this for $3 in low grade, maybe in high grade, you're getting it for $20, but it's, I just can't, this is like early Neil Adams goodness that really is the first of so many Superman works. And if you're into firsts, you gotta target this book. You get, and even if you don't want this book, let's say you don't want it, you got to recognize the significance of this book in terms of what Neil Adams over the career of his endeavors, what this book means to him personally, of having worked on this title, having worked on this series of titles related to Superman. Think of all the hours he spent drawing that the hope Kryptonian hope symbol with the cape and the underwear. Think of how many hours he spent. This represents his first time doing that. His first time drawing the red undies, his first time drawing that Kryptonian hope symbol and the beautiful spit curl and Lois. All right. All right. So go and get that book before you have to overpay for it. What number is that Lois Lane? Good question, Garfwong. It is Lois Lane number 79. Go get it. Go get it now. Click on the eBay link. Find it for under $20. Hopefully in higher grade than lower grade, but get it. It's still incredibly underpriced book for its significance. I got my copy, I think, for like I would say under $10. I see it now even at my LCS for like $3 to $5 in low grade. In high grade, again, if you can get under $20 for high grade, that's a win. This is easily in 10 years' time, $100 to $200 book in high grade. Okay. So it already, I don't know what the book price is right now. I'm sure it's like closer to 50, 65 right now for high grade. It will be an over $100 book in high grade, given the popularity of where Neil Adams is in the hobby and where Superman is right now trending. So I'm drunk, but I'm dropping knowledge on you guys. All right. This is just, again, there are a lot of copies of this book. I don't think you should pay. This is another one of those instances like Crisis on Infinite Earths, where there's a lot of copies. You probably don't want to pay $20, over $20 for this copy. But the difference between this and Crisis on Infinite Earths has to do with, one, you have George Perez, Marv Wolfman collaboration. Two, it's a highly sought after book because of how impactful that story is. You're literally talking about blowing up the pre-crisis continuity for the post-crisis continuity. But the other thing is just the iconographic cover of that moment, the moment where Supergirl is being mourned by the entire DC universe. So that book is in a league of its own because who cares if there's a gajillion copies? As a collector, especially if you're a DC collector, that is like, that is your card to collecting. It's like, hey, I'm a DC, or I'm a comic book collector. Whether you're Marvel or DC, it doesn't matter. Your freaking like collector card is having that book in your collection. Okay. So if you have it in your collection, that's the difference between that book and the book I'm about to show off. This book is a little bit more nuanced in the sense that if you're a Superman collector, this is a must have. And what I mean by that is this is an issue that ends the John Byrne run on Superman in Action Comics. So it's a little niche in the fact that you're wanting the post-crisis Superman run. And that is Superman, Man of Steel 1 through 6, Superman Volume 2, 1 through about 21, and Action Comics, maybe 6, I want to say 680 something to, 580 something to issue. This is 600, right? Yeah, it's 600. Yeah, 600. So 580 something to 600, which is the John Byrne run. Now, what makes this special is it's, as advertised, John Byrne and George Perez. It's a 600 milestone edition. If you can get it in newsstand, if you can get it in high grade, get it. Again, just like there's a lot of copies. You probably shouldn't pay more than $20 for this. Right now, it's probably a $5 to $10 book. You could probably even find lower grades in the dollar bin. My point being, as a Superman book, as an Action Comics thing you want, because there's over 1,000 books in this Action Comics run. A lot of books to target, but if you're gonna pick out ones you want to highlight and have in your collection, this is definitely one of those. John Byrne, George Perez collaboration. It's a milestone issue. It's Golden Superman. It's like Golden Trophy Superman there. It's got all the, you know, it's got the you got Superman making out with Wonder Woman there. I mean, what? You got Man Bat. I mean, come on. It's a golden anniversary issue, and it's an 80-page giant. It's commemorating Superman's golden anniversary from 1938 to 1988. Need I say more? I've got 3 copies of that, by the way. This is a book I recently picked up. It is in low grade, but it's a book. When I tell you its significance, you're going to want to go out and get it. Now, George Perez did a very he's a legend throughout DC, and he's done his share of Superman comic books. He's done his share of DC related characters. I mean, he's a DC legend. He's done more work on DC books than he did ever at Marvel or anywhere else. He's definitely in the DC family. More known for his works on Wonder Woman, more known for his works on sort of these like larger DC, again, Christ on Emperors, War of the Gods, Teen Titan. He was the creator on Teen Titans. So, if anything, that probably is his fame to claim in terms of DC works. But you don't want to discredit or minimize his work on Superman. And this book right here is his first cover work on Superman. It's his first published work on Action Comics Superman, any Superman title. That is Action Comics 529, George Perez cover here, his first work in Action Comics on a Superman title on Superman, and it's a cover. That's up to you, Gordon. That's up to you. I would keep it in a modern, since it's a modern book, but if you want to keep it in a golden age, Mylar, or that's up to you. All right. George Perez, first work on Superman, Action Comics. First work on Superman, all right. And it's a cover. That's a George Perez cover. That's all you need to know. Okay, Action Comics 529. Go pick it up. If you don't like George Perez, then don't pick it up. If you like him, then pick it up. It's simple as that. Crap, what more is there to say about this than it's Superman and Wonder Woman's first frickin' kiss? And I've been on a DC Comics Presents rabbit hole now. I want to pick up as many copies of DC Comics Presents. I want to try to collect the whole damn entire run. And I blame you, fanboy, for dropping me in this rabbit hole. But I have so far 17 issues that I didn't. This was the only DC Comics Presents I had in my whole entire collection prior to this summer. Now I have 17 different issues in the run, and I want more. I want more because it's essentially Superman paired with some DC character across the run of this. I mean, that's it right there, right? DC Comics presents Superman and some random DC character, but we're going to make a story about it. We're going to make it worth your while. And in this instance, dang, Cupid has Superman and Wonder Woman making out, and all Lois and Steve can do is watch and wonder what the F is going on. And the cape there is hiding the action right there. The cape's like, we can't show you what's really going on, but there's some tingly action going on there. All right. If that doesn't want you to get more DC Comics Presents, then maybe this will. Superman and Black Lightning. Yeah, right. When are you going to see Superman and Black Lightning ever together in a comic book? You're not, but you are on the cover and pages of this book. DC Comics presents number 16. Get it now while it's $1 book, and then thank me later. You know, I'm all about cover buys. I'm the king of cover buys, and Justice League America number 61, an homage to. I mean, what more can I say? The first appearance of the Justice League is this great homage copy. Um, it's got all our speculative characters here: Booster Gold, Guy Gardner, Blue Beetle. Classic homage cover. There you go. Don't have to sell that one. I'm sure a lot of you are putting that on your list as we speak. We've got some sketch covers from Infinite Crisis, some Jim Lee goodness. Issue number 3, the sketch variant. We got issue number 6, the sketch variant. Those are things I would pick up. I wouldn't necessarily think that's for everyone. It's for me more than anything else. This is one of those niche things. I would say the Whitman production run versus the actual Superman production run, you're talking about a 1 in 10 ratio. So these are probably a little bit more if you can get a Whitman copy versus standard. The Whitmans are easy to spot because they have Whitman written all over it. This is actually the first Whitman copy of this limited Superman run. They ran in parallel with the actual Superman run, but these were sold a lot in a different channel. Again, this is the first Whitman comic book that was available. It's this wonderful Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover. This book, whether it's Whitman or the standard, edition, is something I would target. But if you can get the Whitman copy, even better. And if you can get Wonder Woman, what number is this? This doesn't even have a number because it's a Whitman copy. Whitman copies don't have numbers, unfortunately. But if you can get the Wonder Woman of whatever this issue is, where she is attacking the Bushmaster and saying things like, "Great Hera, I cannot resist the telepathic commands of the evil Bushmaster," where she's flying in a arms wide open pose. That's the evil Bushmaster. We don't like evil Bushmasters. We like good Bushmasters, right? We always want to master our bushes in a good way, not in a bad way. All right. We've got Superman 300 Milestone Edition. Hard book to get in high grade. There are a lot of copies of this book, but you probably want this in an 8.5 or higher to command the value for this. This is easily at the end of this DCU run. This is easily $100 book, but right now you can probably get it for under 10. So do the math. Under 10, $100 book at the end of the day. That's quite an APY growth year on year. All right. This book This book, yes, Whitman's are valuable. Told you. For every 10 copies of whatever book you got, probably less than, it's probably higher than a 110 ratio. It's probably closer to like 1 in 40 to 1 in 50, right? So, yes, they're valuable. And up to this point, you can find them in dollar bins, but no longer because you're listening to Otaku and you're getting whatever. They'll no longer be available soon for in the dollar bins. All right, this book. When I look at things like Marvel Age or Marvel Fanfare or something along those lines, from my collecting era, where you had something where you love DC books or Marvel books to the point of where like you got the preview editions or you got backstories or you got interviews or whatever, something that added more nuance or depth to the stuff you were reading, where you could pick the mind or get a sense of what the creators were thinking, any kind of interviews, any kind of like uh, issues that showed their creative process and whatnot. This is it. This is DC's version of like Marvel Age, and to a certain degree. The only difference is this it actually had articles and stories, and this is again it's a 25-cent edition. It's a larger page count for collection, but this is a DC collect. It even says a choice collection of classics by Carmine Infantino, winner of the Rubin and Alley Awards for artistic merit. So we're talking about uh, exclusive Carmine Infantino crap from the Silver Age, collected in a #1 edition. It's called DC Special. It's got this one of a kind cover where Carmen Infantino is working. It's got the classic characters. It's a key book. I mean, what more to say about this? This is $100 book at the end of the day, but you could probably get this for under $20. Or if you're lucky, like I did, I got this for what, $5? High grade copy. That I don't know if you'll be able to do, but if you can mimic that in some way, you're winning in life. All right, you're winning in life. All right. We covered a lot of books for investment grade stuff, and I'm hoping you either concur or maybe think I'm crazy. Like, hey, you're drunk. Otaku, you're drunk. Gotta sleep it off. You disagree with the picks or the logic and what these books represent. That's fine. If you disagree, leave a comment. If you agree, leave a like, subscribe. What Martian Manhunter book should we be collecting? Obviously, not the first appearance. James. That's a great question. Martian Manhunter does not stand out as he doesn't have any like standalone Justice League of America type books in that run. He's kind of just like he's sort of introduced as this new interesting backstory character, which is really revealed in the early issues of the run in his first appearance. So I don't know if there's necessarily any one book that I would target, but I would target, issues in that run where he's either on the cover or he's maybe doing something in the story that's significant, where he's the focal point of something that's going on. And that's hard in that initial early run. It's not really necessarily there. I think maybe later in the run, you do start to see him establish himself as more of his own character. He's never gotten his own standalone issue out up until much later. There is a Martian Manhunter run from I believe the like late '90s or early 2000s, right? I can't give you the specific timing of that. That's something that you may want to target if you're into Martian Manhunter. But there's really no, outside of the first appearance, there's really no like obvious, like, again, there's that limit. I think it's a limited series run that you could target for that. But outside of that, I would target any early Justice League of America Volume 1 issues where he's focal part of the story and on the cover. And that's a pretty lazy answer because I'm not a Martian Manhunter collector. But yeah, the chessboard issue, yes, that is definitely, whether you have the actual original or the homage, that Justice League of America number 1 issue is that's a grail book already. I don't even think you can call it an investment book. It's already a highly priced book. Does it have legs to go up? Sure, but I mean that's not in terms of its growth and potential yield. I don't know if you're going to get. Again, if you got the money to spend on that, and as an investment book, I don't think it would hurt in terms of where we are. But that book is already big, and you're not going to see that book necessarily grow. But yes, that is about as targetable as of a DC book as you can get. Outside of the Brave and the Bold, the first appearance of Justice League of America, Justice League of America number 1, the chessboard issue is definitely, it's a grail book. All right. Okay. I don't doubt it. All right. All right. So we've got what, 3 more books left. I feel like all the books I've shown off, um, I feel proud of what I've recommended. I feel confident in my recommendations. Um, Meaning, these are all very underpriced, affordable, cheap books. So if you're targeting them now as investment grade books, they're not going to go down in value. Okay? So you're getting them at, basement or bottom baseline prices. With that being said, there's only upside. And depending on, again, we want to focus on grade, we want to focus on value for what you buy. I think even if you were to pick some of these books up for $5 to $10 to $20 books, you're still getting it at the baseline. It's not going to go down. But the upside is there. So I don't think I showed anything concentrated in the Silver Age. These are all pretty much late bronze and copper to modern books. So with that being said, we're talking about books I would target for long-term growth, but as soon as we get wind, as soon as you see Superman kissing Wonder Woman, which we haven't seen yet, maybe in the Justice League like animation stuff. I don't know that on the animation side I can't be confident, but we haven't seen anything close to Superman cheating on Lois with lip locks with Diana. But man, should that be teased or make its way on in a trailer or whatever? I mean, this is a book you want, regardless if that happens or not. Get this out of the freaking dollar bin and just keep it in your damn collection. Who cares if there's a gajillion copies of this? You want it. You want it. You get you get a little Wonder Woman booty action there. You get lip locks. You got jealous significant others on the cover. I mean, come on. All right. These are the last 3 books I am going to show off. And these are all Silver Age books. And these are all significant in their own very nice ways. And that is the first appearance of Super Monkey. So I'm showing this not because it's the first appearance of Super Monkey, but what I want to emphasize to you is right now crypto's taken off. And there's 2 things that you should know about mass market appeal is that anytime you can bring in from the youngest of us to the oldest of us, and I'm approaching the oldest of us, unfortunately. I'm still not quite there because I have my parents are still alive, and I feel like that generation is the oldest among us. But the older and the younger, if anything you can bring in to where you're entertaining the entire spectrum of our humanity, right? From Gen, the Boomer generation to what are they calling kids these days? Like Gen, what is it? The COVID generation? I don't even know. It's like Gen uh, Alpha or Beta or whatever that the generation is now. We have this huge spectrum. Anytime you can bring those generations and bridge the gaps, animals are gonna do it. Like cute, see, freaking animated animals, digitally animated animals, monkeys, horses, cats, rabbits, dogs, earthworms, beetles, whatever. If they're animals and they're cute, and you bring them together, it's gonna sell. And I'm not just saying Super Monkey. I'm bringing in everybody. I'm bringing in Streaky. I'm bringing in uh, Cosmic Cosmic, whatever the horse's name is, or what is it, Thunderbolt or something. And then we're bringing in Beppo. We're bringing in Crypto. We're bringing in um, all the Legion of Super Pets. Those are all in play, especially the first appearances. So for me, I don't have any of those other Super Pet first appearances, but I do have the first appearance of Super Monkey. And this is right now a $30 book in the low grade. I think it's $100 to $200 book in high grade. I'd pick it up. I'd pick it up only because we're at the, will we get a Super Monkey movie or animated feature or something along the lines of these pets doing some shit together for the kids? Yes, that's more likely than not. So, in anticipation of an entire generation of, Gen Alpha or Gen Beta or Gen, um, diaper, diarrhea, diaper generation, whatever you want to call them, those kids are going to be bought into crypto and the entire Legion of Super Pets. So, with that being said, maybe you won't live 20, 30, 50 years to seeing these kids now become adults and target shit like first appearance of Super Monkey. But you can get it now and just hope you survive long enough to see that happen. With that being said, Neil Adams crypto. I mean, what more is there to say about this cover? This is a absolute. If you're a Neil Adams lover, if you're a Superman lover, if you If you love crypto, this is probably the best freaking crypto cover known to man. And that is even with the fact that I have two Ross, the fact that I have two Alex Ross copies of his super dog cover, crypto cover. I will say this is better than that cover from a pure cover art standpoint. This, and there's a lot of copies of this, so don't overpay for it. Pay if you can get this copy high grade around $10, do it. Uh, but at the same time, if you find it for a reasonable price and low grade to mid grade, just pick it up. It's it's such a good it's such a good boy dog. It's a what do you call it? Good dog boy, good boy. It's such a good boy cover in terms of the dog cover, right? Here is Superboy. He's dejected. He's run away from home, and who's there to just cheer him up by his side, not leaving his side with his super pet cape flowing in the wind. Come on. Again, a lot of copies of that. Don't overpay for it. But if you don't want that in your collection, whether you're a Neil Adams fan or not, or whether you're a crypto fan or not, this is what comic books are all about. These kinds of moments here, and that's all I should have to show and say for you to. Alpha's not so sure. I'm Gen X. All right, Garf Wong, you and I are Gen X. All right, GI Joe, Transformers, freaking latchkey kid shit. Us not being, us. First of all, I want to say this. I was probably like 7 years old when I saw my first like R-rated horror like VHS uh, movie at my neighbor's house. They didn't give a shit. They're like, "Oh, okay, he's over here playing with our kid. Here, you guys watch this like nudie R-rated movie with a lot of sex and violence." They didn't give a shit. They just let us watch that shit, and uh, we were unfazed by it. I'm sure we were traumatized, but after several of those videos and several of those scenes where there's like topless women just taking off clothes and whatnot, uh, you get used to it and you dig it. You dig it. That's Gen X right there in a nutshell. They didn't give a shit what we were exposed to. We were just exposed to it all. Hopefully it didn't you weren't exposed to something that like messed you up, but I feel like a lot of us have that mild sort of like casual, like, you know, uh, you know, neg- parents being, neglectful kind of trauma there that's, dug into our generation. So, again, pleased to meet you, Garfwong. Well, that's a mega trifecta. Yeah, it's again. Um, you either so if you look at this and you say, "Wow, I want that," it either speaks to you as a collector and something you want to target, or it doesn't. And if you don't want to get that book, then this entire video will not make sense to you. That's all I gotta say. Like I'm gonna end with that book and be like, look, I'm giving you all these recommendations, but if that book doesn't make sense as to why it's an investment book or why you should pick it up, then none of the books are gonna make sense to you. All right. Our last book. And first of all, I picked up a lot of great books this summer. And a lot of them are really, really good grade. Like in terms of grades for the age of the book, I mean, they're spectacular grades. I mean, this is probably the best grade. This is probably the best Silver Age grade I've picked up. And I swear to you, this is a near mint copy. It's well, no, it's not a mirror mint. It's a 9.0 copy. It's a 9.0 copy, potentially 9.2. Just again, if you're taking into consideration when this book was, right, 1968. But we have Superman 210, and it's absolutely high grade book. I'd say near mint minus, because the only issue with the book is just this little minute corner there where it's got everything else is spotless. There's just this little corner ding there. You can see the color break right there. You can see it. Outside of that, it's it's so flawless. And I got this for so cheap this summer. The guy really just wasn't concentrating. I maybe took advantage of him, but I got this for like both these books for 25 bucks. So where you want to place the value in terms of two books of 25, let's just split it in half. Let's say 12 bucks, 12 bucks. But this is a $100 book that we could say we picked up for 12. This is a $12 book that we picked up for 12 bucks. Where in terms of value does it land? That's debatable, because what we have here is a detached cover book. And according to CGC, you can have a detached cover book, but if everything looks flawless and maintains the appearance of a high grade book, then they actually place that, even if it's a detached cover, they don't consider that a low grade book. They consider that a fine plus book. So we're talking like anywhere from 6 to 7.0 in terms of grade. JLA 178. All right, I'll take a look at that book. Check it out. All right, I'll check it out. Hey, Hung, what's up? I really enjoyed your artificial general intelligence video book, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that a lot of that is hype, a lot of that is around investments, and a lot of that is driven by capital more than actual reality. Unfortunately, we live in this strange world of gambling in potential versus actual, like, being grounded in reality of what things will actually be versus their potential. But I think living in that sort of science fiction mindset does drive an engine of progress. So hopefully that is what it is. But I agree with you. Like, yeah, in terms of thinking AGI and AI is going to replace human productivity anytime soon, that's yet to be seen. But I will say it is being implemented as we speak. I'm using AI tools at work. I'm sure everybody on some level is handling some kind of automated task, automated, workflow, or some kind of algorithm that helps you read data faster or interpret things faster or gives you answers faster. There's a lot of error with that. There's also a lot of potential accuracy with it. So yeah, we're in the early stages. And Hyung, I agree with you. The promise of what it is versus what it is not there. But that's not going to stop these companies from pursuing it. So I think if there's an opportunity for you to make some money through some, again, I'm talking about investments today. So if there's an opportunity for you to buy low, ride the wave, sell high, and get out, then that's a good situation. Don't be in a situation where it's high and it goes down and now you've lost money. Don't be in one of those situations. But it's all about timing. So, and again, some of these AI stocks um, are more hype than. Although Microsoft, again, okay, Microsoft is set to win if AI hits. If AI becomes our future reality, and it really is something we adopt more and more of, and I think they're selling it as something companies want to uh, integrate or implement. Um, I think, yeah, Microsoft stands to really benefit from the AI boom, and that's because of their cloud infrastructure, right? Their cloud infrastructure is set up to be like this AI engine, like, information in, you got all this data floating around, and it parses it super fast and gives you this sort of like uh, response, whether it's right or wrong. It just generates a response, right? And the more they perfect it, and the more they streamline that, the more value is going to hold. It's a good program, like Amazon, didn't profit for years. One who lasts. Can't find a high grade copy of jelly. Ooh, okay. Is that the what? Is that the book I showed off, or is that something else? What's JLA 178? Is that the one Martian Manhunter one? I don't think that's one I showed off, right? Are we talking about Justice League Adventures or Justice League America? I'm thinking you're talking about the original Volume 1, right, Gordon? All right. Um, I'm gonna take a look at what that book is. I'm not completely entirely positive what that is, but I'm assuming it's a big Martian Manhunter key. That Sam guy seems like double talker. They need their snake. Are you talking about the Chat GPT guy? Oh, the chess match one. Okay, is that JLA one set? I thought it was. I thought it was Justice League #1. The chessboard one is Justice League #1, is it not? All right, now you have me look this shit up. All right, hang on. You're talking about Justice League #1, right? Justice League of America #1, the chessboard issue. Is there another JLA number? Are you talking about like a homage? The one I showed you? Okay, there's another one. Oh, this is a Martian. Oh, that's a nice one. I like that one. Yeah, that's one to target then. 1980 newsstand. It's currently under $10. You can't find it in high grade though. That's a good book, man. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're in a we're in a if we're talking at like an investment cycle. All right, we're talking investment cycles now, and I'm glad we brought. I'm glad you're here. Drop me a line, please. All right, I will. V1. They had a rematch. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. If we're talking investment cycles, because everything has like a life cycle, meaning the life, the cycle curve, right? You got a peak and you got a valley. So if we're talking about an investment cycle, we're talking about I think in terms of DC, we've been in a cycle where it's trending up. Maybe it was a negative, but it's coming into positive territory now. I feel like we're in solid positive territory right now. But where it will peak and where it will decline is yet to be seen. But assuming that the trending, because of the movie release and the trend and what the plans are for the DCU Warner Brothers over the next decade, we're talking about an investment cycle that's along at least a 10-year timeline. Maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's somewhere in between that. Um, but I'm going to say 5 to 10 years out. Okay, so we're at the beginning of an investment cycle that's 5 to 10 years out, and that's we're talking about 5 to 10 years of hopefully it's growth, right? It'll be maybe staggered growth, or maybe a straight line, or maybe just an algorithmic like peak, whatever that looks like. We're looking at a growth curve, and you can decide which books are going to get you the most growth. But we're at that base stage where it's like all books are open game right now. We're at an open game stage, so you could literally like look at the Superman books that are selling. You can't definitively say what sold on eBay is going to be a bad investment versus a good investment, because we're at a baseline right now. And really, what you're looking at are, is that book going to be a slight growth, a stronger growth, or like an algorithmic growth? And so I think everything I've shown here is, I am going to say, a stronger growth curve versus a weaker growth curve, or else I wouldn't have shown you this. But I think, like you said, Gordon, any of the I think, and I agree with you. I think JLA 178 is one of the stronger growth curves, especially with Martian Manhunter, so undervalued, so underappreciated up to this point. But when they legitimately introduce him and bring him on board, which they will, that's going to be a huge moment for DC fans, for the DCU, but also for these books. And again, right now, the fact that JLA, this 1980s classic homage chess piece cover, um, the fact that someone for under $10 seems criminal, and that's a good book to target. I may have to do that as well. All right, let me focus. Let me kind of get back to what I was about to say. So I picked up a lot of books this summer. I mean, we're talking about the summer of Superman, and it truly was the summer of Superman in terms of, I don't think I've ever picked up the number of Superman books like I have in the past. And I didn't even have a big budget. That's the crazy thing. I had a $200 budget. It's only been a month, but go back and watch my videos. It was literally like entire haul videos of just Superman books. But with all that I picked up, I continue to land on this book as one of my favorites of the Summer of Superman pickups. And it's only because we have, again, I was saying before, you can have a detached cover, but if all other aspects of the book are flawless, uh, CGC and uh, CGC and a lot of the grading criteria put those kinds of books at a fine plus, as, again, assuming it's detached cover, but everything else is high grade for the most part. It can range from a 6 to a 7 in terms of grade. We're talking about a fine plus to a VF minus range in terms of grade. And that's where I land with this book. And again, I was able to finagle this as a detached cover book and get it for low grade. Like I said, I got this and that high grade Neil Adams copy, both of these for 25 bucks. But that is $100 book. And this, I believe, at the end of the day, qualifies as a higher mid grade book. And it's an incredibly beautiful book. First off, this is the first cover kiss of Lana Lang and Superman. First cover kiss. So it's a significant book. You're not going to see that listed on anything as a key, but it is the first cover kiss between Superman and Lana Lang. And mind you, Lana Lang and Superman or Superboy have been on a lot of covers, have been in a lot of books. Their actual first kiss is in a Golden Age book, but in terms of visualizing and seeing it on a cover, this is the first book. But this is just a beautiful. I just love everything about this design. It's got the 12 cent in the box. It's a white cover. It's a blue pink backdrop in terms of the trade dress. You've got Lois in this stylish 60s dress. You've got two people making that. You got this weird scientific thing that detects jealousy. It's just goodness. And the reason I mentioned, I don't think this particular book is necessarily has speculative legs, but in terms of that growth curve, it will be a straight line. Okay. It will be a straight line. It won't be a weak line. It'll be a straight line. Just because of what we have here. Okay. This will just be something people want to target. In terms of its design, in terms of its just immaculate presentation, right? It's just such a. I mean, if you want to say, like, rarely do you say it's like a perfect comic book cover art, but it really feels that way. Like the Kurt Swan artwork on this is it just feels perfect with the balance of colors, what's going on in the book with the thought bubble there, what's being. It's just beautiful. Now, I'm not saying this particular book is the one you should target. My recommendation with this book is a little bit broader. What I'm saying is this book represents an era of books that I think on a macro level, right? On a level where, okay, we're targeting higher grade copies of this because they're older. But you already have the Golden Age, right? The Golden Age books are highly sought after because of the rarity of the age, just a variety of factors. So we're not talking about Golden Age books in this video. We're talking about the next stage of an era of comic books that have legs as an era of books to grow. And what I'm saying is Silver Age DC books. It doesn't matter if it's Lois Lane or if it's fucking Green Arrow or if it's DC Special or whatever. The fact that it's a 12-cent cover and it's a DC book and you have it in higher grade. I want to say high grade, but you have it in a higher grade. It's going to have a higher growth curve. And I think, it's one of those situations where, high tides floats all boats. We're in a situation, we're in a high tide investment cycle where you're going to have all books from this era float up. We're already seeing that. And within that era of books, you're going to have ones that float higher to the top. Okay, and these are going to be the your Supergirl first appearances, your Brainiac first appearances. I think the ones that have more significant key value to them. So me showing off this book is not necessarily saying that this particular book is gonna like rise. What I'm saying is this kind of book and in this grade and presentation and whatnot, that you're gonna see the overall market of books see a collective rise, and then among those books, the ones that are more key, the ones that are more pivotal, the ones that are higher grade are going to see that additional uh, increase in valuation. And we're going to see this play out in terms of grading and where the census, because right now, to be honest, not a lot of these DC Silver Age books. Golden Age, we saw those books again. That age warrants, if you have a nice copy, you got to get that graded. But we're going to start to see that in the Silver Age now, more so. So you're going to see a plethora of books on the census, and what's going to separate the fat from the meat, or from the juice, is going to be uh, the higher grade books. Doesn't matter if there's across the board like an even keel rise in the number of submissions. Ultimately, 9/8 are just going to be in a league by themselves. Sure, the copies. First of all, I don't think you're going to see very many 9/8 Silver Age. Silver Age is still an era where people read their books and they didn't put them in bags and boards or take care of them. It was an era where you kept them loose. Yeah, they aged, they weathered, and if you were lucky enough, like me, to have a collector that just protected them and made them look absolutely flawless, like this book does here, um, then you're fortunate, right? You're fortunate because these are the books that are going to have higher values at the end of the day, the higher grade, higher presenting white page type books. So that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention. To be honest, I think this is a book with tremendous mass appeal and legs, because, again, first cover kiss between Lon and Superman. But the other aspect is, like I said, it's just you're going to see all books from this era rise. You're going to see uh, the value of the higher grade, the graded, the census counts rise, but attaching more toward the higher grade census numbers. And that's going to create, again, because of the way the market's structured the way it is, it's going to create that separation between rarity and what collectors want in terms of the demand and desirability. And that's going to create that additional price bump. So circling back to how we started this video, investment grade books. I just picked out a bunch of books because I put out a previous video. This is part 2. Again, just random books from my collection, which I think have legs and which I think really realistically people should be targeting. But like Gordon pointed out, like a lot of people in the comic book collecting have pointed out, or are targeting, anything goes at this juncture. Anything goes at this juncture. Anything could be a key book. Anything could be a book where people land, which is what makes this hobby at this point in time really fun. We're at a point where, like, shit, if I want to go out and get, you know, Absolute Superman #6 or the Dog Bone Biscuit Crypto Superman cover. Who knows in 10 years where those books will be in terms of what collectors want. It really we have a new generation of collectors. We have a new generation of people getting into the hobby who have their likes and specific things they want to see in their collection or what they're targeting. So it's very different from maybe what I'm recommending here, but that's great. That's great. And at the end of the day, that makes me happy because it's always been about Superman getting the recognition he deserves. It's about the mass appeal of Superman. I wanted to see that happen before I died, and it happened. So I can die happy that it's come full circle and that people are appreciating Superman like like he deserves. All right. Well, you found a near mint copy. All right. How much? What you got it for $2 or something, man. You got it off eBay. All right, Gordon's gonna keep us in suspense. I hope you got it. I hope you got it cheap. And again, this is the era we're living in, man. Right? Oh, you read my mind, man. The Lex Luthor Battlesuit first appearance. That is Action Comics. I want to say it's like, what is it? Six. No, it's not 600. I would say it's like 570 something, right? It is an Action Comics book. That is a book I'd target. I already have it, first off. I have a newsstand high grade copy of it. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Gordon. I think that's one secretly, if you're in the know, that's a book you definitely should pick up. Again, I got mine for $3, high grade newsstand copy. But yeah, if you're trying to pick it up now in this speculation environment, I was even telling Fanboy, and Fanboy, if you're listening, you remember we were having this conversation, but I was telling Fanboy, I wouldn't doubt if we saw that in the next movie. Like seriously, in Superman 2, the sequel, because they've already mapped out the sequel, right? In the sequel, we've been talking about like, yeah, Lex, he'll either come back with a battle suit or he'll come back with a clone. Like some Superman clone. Maybe it's Superboy or maybe it's Bizarro, some form of Bizarro or Ultraman, right? Although this was Ultraman, but it wasn't like truly Ultraman. But we'll get some truer version of Ultraman. Whatever the case may be in Superman 2, there's something where Lex Luthor is going to be in it, and Lex Luthor is going to come back with something more formidable than what was in Superman 1. And I'm telling you, my bet, if I'm a betting man, I have a lot of bets out there right now. And I can go down list by list what I think is going to happen. But I'm telling you, I agree with you, Gordon. I think Battlesuit Lex is on the docket. It has to be on the docket. And should that happen, that $10 book uh, will instantly become $100 book. So let me get my copy. All right, hey, hang on. I'll be like 30 seconds. Hang on. Action Comics 544. There you go. Right on the cover. First appearance of Battlesuit Lex First appearance of Brainiac Evolved. Oh, man, I got this for $3 from Mill Geek. Mint. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a 9.8, but it's a 9.4 for sure. Let me read you the talent that's within the pages of this book. Carrie Bates, Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson, Marv Wolfman, Gil Kane, George Perez, Ed Hannigan, plus Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the original creators. And you got this classic Kane Giordano cover. So, yes. If I'm a betting man, this is definitely among the investment target books. Get it while it's still like a $10 book. Because as soon as Lex shows up, as soon as Nicholas Hoult shows up in that battle armor, and this has been teased in animation, it's been teased in lots of video games, comic book. It's a constant motif in comic books, right? It's I think um, I want to say in a lot of the animations, it's a big part of Lex's, you know, linear progression, right? It's a part of his story because you need a situation where he's on equal terms as Superman, so he's got some kind of kryptonite kind of balancing suit that protects him from just getting manhandled by Superman. And that's what this suit is, right? So, and then there's action figures from our childhood. I mean, must I go on? This is, yeah. I'm glad you brought this up. This is definitely one you should be targeting. So there you go. Brainiac would be fun, you know. I think everybody's anticipating wanting Brainiac. That seems to be a through line in terms of what people want to see. Yeah, it's a yellow cover. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Those are my investment picks. And I was drunk at the start of this. I'm sobering up a little bit. That's how long this video was. Yes, yeah, Fanboy and I have talked about it. I think we're thinking that it's going to show up as early as the next movie in Superman. So I wouldn't doubt if it did. Comcast put Cartoon Network on their sport. Whoa, okay, here we go. Well, yeah, that's unfortunate. Parasite, yeah. There's so many Superman villains you could. You almost, I mean, if you were to prioritize or rank villains, and this is literally the calculus James Gunn has to do, right? He's got to be saying, okay, let's list from 1 to 10 the top Superman villains in comic books and fandom. Like he's just got to get all this feedback on what fans want to see and what will have the biggest like monetary impact, right? What's going to bring people to the theaters to like want to see? Because if you bring like middle-aged, obese, nerdy-looking toy man in his like 60s, leisure wear, plaid suits and whatnot. You're gonna bring Toy Man, that representation, the Gold and Silver Age representation, into the modern this DCU movie timeline. No one's gonna get excited for that shit. First off, toys having some kind of like influence or impact on Superman, that's a dated thing that no one's gonna buy. Now there is the later Bronze Age version, Bronze and Copper Age version of Toyman, the Super Friends version of Toyman. um, that looks a little different in terms of the costume villainry. They add a little bit of that element. Um, so if they bring that version, maybe that can work. But I mean, I wouldn't put Toyman in my top. I mean, from a historical standpoint, yes, because he's one of these like villains you see throughout the history. He's an early villain, but I'm talking like top 10 mano a mano. Give Superman, a run for his money. We've already introduced Lex. We know Brainiac's number 2 on that list. I put Bizarro or Mr. Mxyzptlk 3 on that list in terms of rankings. So you can do 3, 4 on and switch them around. More than Parasite, fanboy, I'd put Metallo over Parasite. But again, Parasite, Metallo, Parasite, they're kind of right there. I don't think Terraman works. I don't think Toyman works. I think these are period pieces that don't necessarily have legs. To be honest, I gotta put Doomsday. Right outside of what we just mentioned, I gotta put Doomsday there. I've also got to put what's that other one? It's not Doomsday, but he's like Doomsday. You guys gotta help me remember the name. Yeah, Toyman does fit James Gunn. And I'm not opposed to it. I just think like of all the things he could introduce before Toyman, it would make it, you know what I mean? Like if they were to bring this and it were to fail early on, it just would. They got to go with more of a sure thing, I think. Eradicator's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one in terms of like a new type of storyline. Like General Zod, I think they are kind of working towards some kind of General Zod, Ursula, known, like a Kryptonian. I've even heard rumors that the video that doctored video of Jor-El is not Jor-El, but actually General Zod. It's some kind of like fake video. I've heard that theory tossed around that that's not Jor-El and Lara. It's actually Zod and Ursula playing with Kal-El, and there's going to be some kind of Kryptonian, like you know what I mean. Like Zod would uh, try to take advantage of Clark's um, emotional, like compromise him emotionally to convince him, hey, we're your parents and we're here to conquer Krypton, so get on board. And so but they're actually, like they're actually the people that maybe had something to do with Krypton's demise, right? Along with Jor-El's demise. So we'll see. I really that so I feel like they have to resolve that in some way. I just can't accept the fact that Jor-El would jettison his son for Kal-El not to be a symbol of hope, but to be a symbol of conquest and doom. I just don't buy that. So I think James Gunn is setting us up for something because he keeps saying like, no, that's canon. That's exactly what you're seeing there is actually what was being said and all that. He's like trying to sell us on that, but I'm not sold at the moment. I think it's some kind of fake video. It's like a doctored video, and we're gonna learn of its true meaning and significance down the road. But that always that whole little the minute or the 5 minutes or whatever that whole thing was revealed, I was just like, that was the thing that made me kept me from really loving the film. I liked the film a lot, but I would have loved it more had they not taken that angle. I just thought that was just a lazy, stupid, didn't make sense kind. I mean, it did work with the fact that, oh yeah, okay, Clark's, his real parents are his adopted parent. I get that whole, the purpose of that, but to do it in that way, you could have established that without trashing his biological parents, and that's just the way I feel. But I just feel like that was a little lazy, and I think James Gunn is setting us up for. I don't think that's the true intent of that. I think he's setting us up for something. They should do a Phantom Zone. Yeah, they should. So I mean, I think they're setting that up as well. I think we are going to see Ultraman back, and we're going to see some form of that. I wouldn't doubt it, Gordon. I think the more you've been kind of floating that idea around, and I think I don't I don't discount it, but I think before we see that Ultraman back, because that's just too soon. I think we're going to probably see just a new villain in Superman 2, and I think the way people are kind of chatting and stuff, it's gonna be some really memorable classic villain versus like some of the. It's not gonna be like you're not gonna get Doomsday or anybody like that. I don't think you'll even get a Bizarro. Bizarro is too soon, and it's too convenient for if that Ultraman or that genetic clone comes back as because Bizarro has a whole backstory, right? You can't just like put him in some pocket black hole universe and then he spends some time there and comes back as Bizarro. No, Bizarro is like the Superman of a Bizarro world. So I just feel like that has to be its own s- meted out story at some point. I think what really like, and again, this goes back to my conversations with like Fanboy and some other people, but I really think the Brainiac I really think Brainiac's on deck for the next villain. Um, that's the safe bet. That's the big payoff villain that I mean, if you're talking about like Lex, as great as arch nemesis as Lex is, in terms of the opposite polar opposite or the arch nemesis of Superman. Yeah, Lex is without a doubt that person, but in terms of sheer magnitude, the, the villain that ultimately stands to pose the biggest threat or challenge to Superman and human existence. I got it. And again, Brainiac. We're imagining Brainiac as the green sort of like alien looking Lex, right, with the things coming out the tubes and all. And no, the Brainiac that I think James Gunn or this modern DCU version of Brainiac that they're going to bring is going to be again along that AI track, along this sort of like human computer, this alien computer that's so smart, that's so powerful, that can anticipate everything. It's like got the thousands of chess moves calculated. You really can't, um, it's kind of like meets machine meets um, dominant space alien threat power. That all combined as the villain in the next Superman movie creates. I mean, that's like bigger than Doctor. I mean, think about it. We just had Galactus, but Brainiac in this and we're just talking, Naman Young and I were just talking about the fears of AI, how people in power could abuse AI um, to control us, right? and to a certain degree, it's happening. But I mean, to um, and that's really the potential of Brainiac right there, right? Um, there's just so much in terms of writing they can do with that character because he's untapped. He's an untapped potential for what who or what is Brainiac, right? Like like the classical Brainiac in today's world would you just wouldn't want that version. You'd want something more terrifying, and that's where I think Fanboy is dead on. Yeah, yeah. I just think it shouldn't happen in the second movie though. But I mean, I could totally see it though. I could totally see like, oh, last time we saw Ultraman, but I would like to see I would like to see Bizarro presented more authentically, more legitimately, maybe with a little bit more thought into it rather than the second movie. But I agree with you that that is easy out if they want to go that route. Yeah, see, AI is. I just feel like Brainiac in today's world, where we're all kind of we're all reliant on technology and computers. I mean, we're all worried about some kind of like hacking or phishing or doing like imagine a being that can just plug in and just be at the sole center of our systems and our data and our information like that that is frightening and that's so how does Superman counter that, right? How do you counter uh how do you battle a system that's so entrenched in everything? He's one man. He can't like, you know what I mean? Like if Brainiac plugs in and literally has control of our entire network, at that point, what is Superman fighting? He's got to maybe fight the source and destroy the source, but it's kind of like the Superman 3 where that machine is like choking him out and like that was like the hokeyest thing. But the concept is like Superman is like, this computer could outsmart him, it could like send nuclear missiles or launch missiles. Like there's a lot of ways a machine that controls our entire system could fight Superman by turning the military uh, against him or turning like people like just like just uh, public opinion against him, right? Just using technology or media to influence people to be against Superman, which kind of we got a kind of a glimpse of when Lex tried to do that PR campaign against Superman. But I mean, Brainiac can do it to the nth degree and seamlessly, and then Superman here, if everybody's against Superman, Superman doesn't have any legs of support to stand on. That's frightening, right? So there's a lot of things I think you could do with Brainiac, and I think yeah, he makes the most sense. Um, the other thing I could see is Darkseid, and Darkseid's kind of one of those like Fantastic Four dilemmas, right? Like we just got a version of Darkseid. Darkseid's definitely, I think, in terms of like scale villains. I just mentioned why Brainiac would have that scale of um, kind of doom, right? If you're talking about like a whole dystopian outlook, if a villain were to get their way, right, outside of like complete genocide or whatever, but just like levels of control and slavery. Like you got Brainiac and then you've got Darkseid, right? These are two guys who like I think on similar levels. One, we're talking about systemic control, and one, we're talking about just pure control through brute force and, you know, domination. So, uh, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things, a lot of potential either way. So I think it's an exciting time. He's okay. That is a, young, right? Like he's some program, and he just that's I can see that, right? He's just some like simple program, and he gains consciousness, and he just builds him. It's kind of like Tron, right? Like he's like the GP. What did they call in Tron? The CPU, the GPU, or something. He's just the thing that uh, you know sucks the power out of all their systems, and grows and grows and becomes this sentient evil thing. So I could totally see that would be fun. Actually, that would be a good way. Actually, and the thing I'm most excited about this year, more than Superman, is Tron. To be honest, I'm excited, more excited to see Tron than Superman. Um, Although Tron will never beat my love for Superman. In terms of the cinematic experience, that Tron movie looks really, really dope. Gotta say, go with Max. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm presenting. I presented a scenario or a spec book um, to Target. We'll go back to it here. I got so many good books here. Like, go back and watch this video, and seriously, like, I think whether you're a DC comic book fan or not, these are books that you would just be like, yes, a chef's kiss, right? Like, yes, I completely agree. This is something that we as collectors should target. But I showed off the book. I'm going to go back to it because right now, the thing that people are, I think, chattering the most about with regards to this cinematic speculation is we're going to get Wonder Woman, right? James Gunn has said we've got a script for Wonder Woman. They're casting Wonder Woman right now. So we're going to get a production date. We're going to get more details about Wonder Woman. But given the relationship between Clark and Lois, and you're dropping Wonder Woman into this universe. Now, maybe Superman and Wonder Woman will just be platonic, and we won't get any inkling of that they're anything more than colleagues or superhero colleagues, right? Because that's the road James Gunn may take. He may just be like, no, Wonder Woman is a superhero. We're not going to complicate by making this any kind of like sexual or um, convoluted uh, relationship between Superman and Wonder Woman. But let me know, okay, do you want to see a romance bud between Superman and Wonder Woman? Given what we have with Lois and Clark, okay, albeit their love is new, they're figuring things out. They obviously love each other, but there's obviously some differences there in terms of personality, in terms of the ways they look at the world, the fact that one's Kryptonian, the one's human. They have very different backgrounds. Got farm boy versus city girl, right? Educated city girl. There's just a lot of like dichotomies there that work as a relationship, but at the same time, if there were to be some cracks in that, there you go, right? The fact that they're so different, right? That they might not be right for each other. And I've always said, like, think about, Lois is going to age and die. Superman's going to live much longer. So they're really on two different timelines in terms of their lifespan. Um, and similar to Superman's lifespan is Diana because she's quote unquote a human goddess, right? She's got the genes of the gods, but she's a human, right? So given those factors, like I've always said, if you're doing like a matchmaker type thing, like where you're like, okay, let's look at, pros, cons of who works with what, like who's compatible with who and what's compatible with what. I've always said, um, this is a better match than Clark and Lois. Um, and will Gunn explore that though? That's the question. Will Gunn drop Wonder Woman into this love triangle, or will he keep those lines separate? And all right, Gordon. I know you. I know we want the crime syndicate. All right, I get it. There are the things in the crime syndicate. No Aquaman and Wonder Woman. They're always there. All right. Well, I think we've exhausted. I gotta catch a flight tomorrow, so I gotta kind of get to bed early, and I gotta kind of get finish up the packing and all that. But I had a lot of fun tonight. So this is my last video. You won't see me. I may do some lives from Tokyo. Maybe do some updates from Tokyo. But as you know, we're planning to hit up the comic book shop over there. Planning to pick up some maybe Japanese books. Um, we are going to Akihabara, which is the the center of video games, toys, manga, animation, anime. Um, that's just the center of that whole entire universe. Um, and I haven't been there in 7 years. The last time I was in Akihabara, I used to go there so often. But the last time I was there in 7, because it's just the place I love to hang out in. It's my place of absolute bliss and joy because Akihabara is never stagnant. They're always changing because people are buying stuff, so they're always changing out. There's always something new they're marketing, selling. So it's this constant flux of like new products, and they have collectors selling their wares in these like you know glass boxes that you can like literally say, oh, I want that, and it's either used or whatever, but there's a price and they'll sell it to you that for that price, and it all goes the proceeds go to the collector who's renting out that little glass display. But there's all kinds of stuff like that where it literally is like a nerd otaku's like paradise. You can literally get anything geek culture, and I'm even talking about like superhero shit, like Marvel, DC stuff. That's even there, but obviously, being at Japan, it's more geared toward what the Japanese are into, which is the manga anime shit. But yeah, I mean, 7 years since I've been there. I'm sure it hasn't changed all that much, but I'm sure at the same time it's changed to where I gotta kind of reorient and see where my shops are and all that. But so looking forward to it, and I have 20,000 and yeah, 20,000 in budget, which is roughly about $150 or so. And I'm just gonna bring something back. I'm gonna bring something back for my homies here, and it's gonna be exciting. So stay tuned for that. Look out for the Battle of the Planets #1. Yeah, all right. I love me some Battle of the Planets. I love me some Naruto. I love me some One Punch Man. I love me some Ghost in the Shell, Evangelion. I mean, the list goes on and on of like animation. Akira, of course. Akira is always it's one of the first mainstream uh, Japanese content that went mainstream here in the U.S. So people forget Transformers. That was based off Takara. Um, these things called myclone. Basically, they're just like everyday objects that transform into robots. This was an entire Takara toy line that came to the U.S. and said, "Hey, you know what? We got all these toys. How are we going to sell them?" Oh yeah, Hasbro basically said, "You know what? Let's just make a fucking cartoon and call them the Transformers and Decepticons and put these cool little decals where you rub them and they change and you can see if it's like a bad guy or a good guy and all like it was brilliant." But it started out as sort of this like Japanese toy line that was like popular but not like widely popular, and then they took this like American story or cartoon and just sold the shit out of that, and it became its own thing to where it outsold the original toy line from Japan, and now you had Hasbro like selling, you know, basically remodeled Macros toys as like Jetfire and like anyway, and then you got GI Joe in the mix and all this shit. So Kenner and GI Joe Kenner or Hasbro, I don't know. It's home anyway. It was exciting shit, and but yeah, Japan is just kind of knee deep in the center of that. So just excited to go back. I'm gonna have a blast, even though it's a very short afternoon. I'll be spending in Akihabara. It's gonna be fun to do it because I haven't done it in 7 years, um, and anyway, we're gonna do some stuff there. So yes, wind variants are very expensive. I would say pick up high because that is another one of those instances where Whitmans were kind of sold either in like packs or they were sold in loose comic book form. So you're not going to see too many of those if they were opened and read. You're not going to see too many of those in a high grade, but if they're still packaged, yes, those are probably ones that are going to be much higher in value. But the Whitmans are definitely the ones you should be targeting in high grade for sure. And yeah, all right. I've run out of stuff to talk about, but hope you got some value out of these recommendations, especially whether you're into DC books or not. You're just looking for something to target, and um, DC's kind of this very expansive, sort of amorphous collecting thing. I know you can target first keys and all that, but in terms of what books are going to be the target of collectors, it's sort of a wait and see. But I think my recommendations kind of give you a broad guideline of what to target, and hopefully, ultimately, what I think you should take away is that just the cool factor of the books I showed off. They're just fucking cool. So go and get them. Woof! Dang, dude. All right. Well, there you go. Superman Whitmans. Those are going to be sky high collectibles at the end of the day. Gordon, man, you're the best, man. Thanks for hanging out. Everybody, Naman Young, love you, bro. Love you, fanboy. All you guys are great. My Superman homies, all here hanging out with me. Um, and again, Fantastic Four, as great as it was. I think we all know the winner of the summer. I mean, we call it the summer of Superman, so you can't crown anybody other than Superman as the box office winner this summer. It's truly the summer of Superman. So I'll be back from Japan in a week. Until then, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.